All right, I got my little notebook. I got my notes. I've been taking notes. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Alexandra Anele. You can call me Alex. I just filmed a Euphoria makeup tutorial, which is why I look like this right now. So today I'm going to be talking about my truth when it comes to the influencer industry, beauty influencer industry, like for me. I've seen a few different people make this video and I just thought, I don't know, I have maybe a slightly different perspective and it would be, Kat, I will come for you. I thought it'd be interesting to share my perspective on it. So just to give you a little bit of background so that you can understand kind of where I'm coming from, I am a self-trained makeup artist. I went to school for painting, so I got my BFA in oil painting. So I have a background in art. Then I kind of became interested in makeup and started using that as art. So that's my background. I've been I've been in social media, posting my makeup on social media for like 5 years, but I've been doing this full time for like, I don't even know, full time? I feel like 2 years is generous. So today I just thought I would tell you I broke it down into like pros and cons about this job. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the fucking truth. Let's get to the truth. I'm gonna talk about the pros first. I get sent so much free stuff. And by stuff, I mean it's mostly makeup, some clothes, a lot of it like skincare, some accessories, that kind of thing. It's all sort of like within the beauty industry. That's awesome. That's amazing. I remember the first makeup PR that I received and it was incredible. Always thankful for that. It's so cool to be able to like try products before they're coming out. I get to walk into Sephora and be like, I've had that. I'll walk in and be like, show me what's new. And they'll be like this. And I'm like, old news. Just kidding. I really don't do that. Another pro is the events, the parties, depending on how you look at it anyway. I feel like people would probably look at that and be like, oh my God, it'd be so much fun to go to one of those. I'm such an introvert. I'm such a loner. I hate going out. They are work for me, but I consider them, they're just like hard work, but so beautiful, like amazing. I get to go to these amazing events that are like beautifully put together with a lot of the time like celebrity makeup artists or celebrities themselves as the hosts. I get to meet all kinds of that's basically where the networking happens. Another thing that I'm really bad at. That's a really amazing opportunity. It's also just an excuse to like get dolled up and take awesome photos. There's usually like really cool photo ops. There's always really cool photo ops. That's the point. It's basically advertising for the brand when we go to those parties. So networking, like I just said, when we go to these events, you have the opportunity to meet some of the biggest influencers in the beauty community, which is amazing. Especially being in Los Angeles, I have found myself in a room with some of the biggest beauty influencers, like all the people that you guys know. And I've had the opportunity of meeting a lot of like wonderful people. Another pro is just the opportunity in general. I mean, I have the opportunity to meet people who not only work for, but help build or create some of the biggest makeup brands in the entire world. I mean, that's incredible. There's so much opportunity in this industry and it's really endless and you don't really know what can come of it until you're in it. I had no idea. Those obviously aren't all of the pros, but those are the ones that I can think of right now. Let's get to the cons. It's a lot of hard work, you guys. A lot of hard work. I can tell you right now that to get to where I am right now. Now, YouTube is kind of another story. I started out on Instagram and that's where the majority of my work and also the majority of my followers are. So YouTube is kind of like a side thing. It's a little bit smaller for me. When I started all of this, I was working a full-time job as a graphic designer, working not only full-time, but overtime as well. And I was waking up so early in the morning to like do my makeup and either taking photos before I would go to work or coming home and doing it on my lunch break. And then when I got home from work, I would just play with makeup and like try to create different looks and post them on Instagram. So like it might not seem like it is, but it's so much work. And to get this job off the ground, like most self-employed people or people who are starting a business, you work for years for free. You're not making anything because you're trying to get yourself out there. Obviously, it's not laying fucking hot tiles on a roof or anything like that. It's not like physically intense, but it is. It's a lot of work. It is a job. A lot of people don't realize that. They think that like you can just kind of sit around and do whatever you want. Now, one of the cons and one of the pros of that con is creating your own schedule for the most part. That's fantastic. Love that. Throwing that in the pros pile. Another con is tracking down money. So technically we are self-employed people working as contractors. So they're hiring you for like a certain amount of time, which means that you don't get on like their payroll. So you're not like expecting a check, or you're not receiving like a direct deposit or expecting a check like at the same time every couple of weeks or every week or at once a month or whatever. It's very all over the place. I would say at least 50% of my job is tracking down money. And it's always different. It's not necessarily the small brands who aren't good at paying. It's small brands and big brands who aren't good at paying on time, and vice versa. So there are some small brands and also large brands who are great and they'll pay you right away and you don't have to like track them down, but money is never consistent, and that's always scary no matter what. It makes budgeting really, really hard. No matter how much you're making, it's always scary because like you'll go 3 months with like a ton of work and then all of a sudden you have nothing. And it's like, how do I budget for this? Like, I don't know how to live. So that's definitely a con. It's true of most like freelancers. So freelance anything would probably relate to that. There is absolutely a hierarchy. This business is very cliquey. For the most part, I would say that people tend to hang out with people who are on their level. I've met people who have millions and millions of followers who are so sweet and wonderful. I've also met people who have millions and millions of followers who are so fucking full of themselves. And when you meet those people and you see like how successful they are, obviously they have to have something, you know, some kind of talent or some kind of like work ethic to be where they are. Sometimes I just want people to know what fucking dicks they are. I'm not naming any names. There's a real hierarchy. We are called influencers. Our worth when it comes to people, each other, and also brands has to do with how much influence we have. Now, I've been lucky enough not to experience that too much. Definitely like when I go to events and stuff, it's the big influencers who are the ones who get treated the best, get the best PR packages and stuff like that. There was an incident, and I will not mention the celebrity, I will not mention the brand or the people around me, that I first experienced this hierarchy. I was at an event, there was a celebrity host. Of course, everybody wanted to meet this person. So I happened to be standing with 2 or 3 different other influencers who had like in the millions of followers. I'm obviously a much smaller influencer. We were all standing there waiting for the celebrity to come up and say hello, introduce ourselves, whatever, take a picture, you know how it goes. So it was me and then I think it was like 2 or 3 of us. We were basically in a line. One of the representatives from the brand, who I know very well and am always friendly with, came up and basically pretended like I didn't exist. I was standing next to them, like directly next to them. Completely ignored me, introduced all 3 of the other people because they had so many more followers than me or subscribers to the celebrity, and just pretended like I didn't exist. Like literally did not acknowledge me. And that was really hurtful because I thought, we're all right here. There was only 4 of us total in that vicinity. I've worked with these people. I have a lot of experience with them. And that was like a wake-up call. And I realized that is still a really huge part of it. Doesn't matter how incredible your artistry is or how kind of person you are or what relationship you have with certain people of a certain brand, they care more about the people who have the numbers. That really sucked. That was a shitty experience. The last con that I want to talk about is waste. So like I said, one of the pros is receiving all kinds of free stuff, which is fantastic. Cannot complain. But the amount of packages that I receive, the amount of packaging, boxes, filler, bubble wrap, and stuff like that. The boxes the actual products come in, the products themselves, there's so much stuff that I can't possibly use all of the time. I know I'm gonna get comments on this, so I will tell you that I will occasionally do giveaways, but the majority of the makeup that I don't use, the manager of this building actually volunteers at an animal shelter, and I think it's like monthly. They do a drive. All of the money goes to the animal shelter. So I have just been giving her some makeup and she sells it. She said that it's become so popular. So that's amazing. That's fantastic. It's just like a win-win for everybody. But as far as like just throwing stuff away, I'm constantly throwing out, I mean, obviously we recycle, but like constantly bringing down packages to the recycling, like just so much stuff. And a lot of the times brands will just kind of like send an extra this. It's like, oh, you already have these products? Here's more. I can't, please. I can't. Like if you're gonna send the newest launch, that's okay. If you're gonna send a foundation email me, let me know what the shades are so I can pick like maybe 2 or 3 shades. Please don't send me the whole thing. It's an interesting industry. Obviously, the T is what I just explained to you, the hierarchy, which is super real. And I'm glad that it took me a while to get to the point where I really experienced that. Because if it had started, well, no, I don't know if it would have deterred me, but I think it would have hurt a lot more if I was very, very new. So as far as influencer drama and stuff like that, I am not involved. I don't care. I don't want to know. I basically stay out of all of that stuff for the most part. I'm oblivious to it. I don't pay attention to any of the drama. I don't really hang out with any of the people who are involved in drama out in the beauty industry. I'm over here doing my own shit. So for the most part, I answered people's questions in this video. I did ask you guys on Instagram to leave me some questions about the industry that you have. So the first one is, how long did it take for you to get noticed? I honestly don't know. It happened fairly quickly. So I started all of this about 5 years ago. The first people who really took a liking to me were Anastasia Beverly Hills and Pat McGrath. I mean, Anastasia was growing like crazy, but it was still like kind of new, and they were sharing me a lot. They were reposting my work all the time, which was amazing, and it was great for growth. And then Pat McGrath started reposting some of my eye looks as inspiration, so that really helped. So I was noticed pretty early on, luckily, and I really can't tell you like what I was doing right. I can't tell you. It was so long ago. It's a different industry now. I kind of already answered this, but the best part about being an influencer is just like being able to work for myself. Like, do my own thing. I get to just be myself and do my own stuff, and brands see me and either they like my work or they don't, and they choose, if they do, then they choose to work with me, and for the most part, they basically just let me do what I want. They trust me because they see my portfolio and they know the work that I do. That's definitely the best part, is being able to like, sometimes you'll have guides, but for the most part, when I work with people, it's just kind of like, do what you want, like go. All right, and then this is really hard, but somebody said, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start an influencer life? You guys, that's a really hard question to answer because, like I said, it's so different. The industry is completely different now. It's so saturated. And platforms like Instagram and YouTube are constantly changing their algorithms. What I would say is, whatever you're interested in, whether it's super smoky looks, whether it's like lifestyle, or if your photo style is totally unedited natural light, if your photo style is highly edited, like super high fashion, do whatever your interest is and like really stick to it and make it yours. Like do whatever you want, whatever attracts you, whatever inspires you, and just go full force. Because I think it really helps when someone looks at someone's Instagram page or just their social media and it's very clear what their thing is. That's something that I struggle with a lot. A lot of the time I'll look at my page and I'm like, it feels so disconnected to me. Like there's so many things that I'm interested in that I feel like there's no real lane that I'm going down. So I think that's good as far as marketing goes. Like when people look at your page, they should know what it is, like what you're into. The other thing would be never do the same thing. That's so conflicting. When it comes to hashtags, tagging brands and stuff like that, it's constantly changing. Like I said, Instagram is constantly changing their algorithm, and I swear it just fucks people over every time. Do not get used to using the exact same hashtags for every photo. Don't use hashtags like Instagood and shit like that. It's going to fuck you over. Do not leave spammy comments on other people's photos. First of all, it's just a bad look. It's not a good look. We all know one really huge influencer in particular who did that back in the day. It's just not a good look. It's not a good look. And I'm pretty sure Instagram will flag that shit. They'll shadow ban you. That's still a thing. If you're tagging a brand, don't tag them. Use their hashtag. Then tag them in the next one. Only do a few brands. Maybe only tag one brand. A lot of videos and photos that are dedicated to one brand do really well. It's tough. You gotta it's balance. You gotta constantly like stay in the know, try different things, try not to get stuck doing the exact same thing and thinking that it's gonna work, because Instagram's always changing, so you have to too. I don't know if any of that was helpful or interesting, but I really hope that it was. Thank you for watching. I hope that you guys learned a little something about my experience as an influencer. I hate that fucking word. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts about the industry. Any questions that you have, I'm willing to answer them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. My brother just texted me and called me a goofbaggins.